Imagine a moment when the world pauses, united in grief, as a tragedy far beyond borders touches the heart of a king. Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the latest stories from the British royal family, weaving together duty, humanity, and the weight of global events. Today, we're diving into a story that's both heartbreaking and deeply human, King Charles III's emotional response to a devastating tragedy in Austria. What prompted this rare, personal statement from the monarch? And why does it resonate so deeply? Stay with us, because this is a story that will tug at your heartstrings and keep you glued to the screen. Let's set the scene. It was a Thursday when Buckingham Palace, the beating heart of the British monarchy, released a statement that carried the weight of profound sorrow. This wasn't a routine announcement about royal engagements or ceremonial duties. No, this was something far more personal, a direct message from King Charles III himself, joined by Queen Camilla, addressing a horrific event that unfolded in the Austrian city of Graz. The news was so shocking, so utterly devastating, that it compelled the king to speak not just as a head of state, but as a fellow human struck by grief. What could shake the monarchy to its core like this? Let's unravel the story. In Graz, at the Drei Schutz und Strasse school, a place meant to nurture young minds and foster hope, an unimaginable horror unfolded. A 21-year-old man, armed with a handgun and a shotgun, unleashed a wave of violence that shattered the sanctity of this educational haven. The toll was staggering. A dedicated teacher and 9 students, aged just 14 to 17, lost their lives. 6 girls and 3 boys, each with dreams and futures snuffed out in an instant. 11 others were injured, left to carry the physical and emotional scars of that day. The attacker, a former student who never graduated, left behind a farewell letter and a video message for his parents before taking his own life in a school bathroom. It's a grim picture of a troubled soul colliding with unspeakable violence, but the true focus remains on the victims, those young lives cut short, their families shattered, and a community left reeling. And that's when King Charles stepped forward with words that echoed across the globe. In a statement that felt like a collective embrace, the king shared his and Queen Camilla's profound shock and sorrow. "We were utterly heartbroken to hear of the horrific tragedy at the Drei Schutz und Strasse school in Graz," he said, his words carrying the weight of genuine grief. He went further, striking a chord that resonates with anyone who values the innocence of youth. Schools are sacred spaces, places where children should feel safe to learn and grow. This attack on students and staff is all the more devastating because it violates that trust. These aren't just the words of a monarch, they're the sentiments of a parent, a grandparent, someone who feels the pain of this loss deeply. But what makes this response so extraordinary? It's the way Charles extended his compassion beyond the immediate victims, reaching out to an entire nation in mourning. And that's where the story takes a poignant turn. The king's message didn't stop at the families of those lost or injured. He spoke directly to the people of Austria, saying, "Our hearts go out to all those touched by this tragedy, and we send our deepest sympathies to the Austrian nation during this time of profound sorrow." This was more than diplomatic courtesy, it was a gesture of shared humanity, a recognition that a tragedy like this ripples far beyond its epicenter, wounding an entire country. For Charles and Camilla, this wasn't just about protocol, it was about standing in solidarity with a grieving nation, offering comfort from one corner of Europe to another. But why does this gesture feel so significant? Let's dig deeper. The monarchy, often seen as a symbol of tradition and continuity, also has a unique role in times of crisis. King Charles, as head of state for the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, is no stranger to addressing moments of national sorrow. But this statement, directed at an international tragedy, underscores his role as a global figurehead, one who can amplify a message of empathy when the world needs it most. The Graz tragedy, with its loss of young lives and a dedicated educator, strikes at the heart of universal values: the sanctity of education, the safety of children, and the trust we place in schools as cornerstones of society. For viewers who've lived through decades of global challenges, from conflicts to crises, Charles's words carry a timeless resonance. They remind us of the fragility of peace and the shared duty to protect the next generation. But there's another layer to this story that's keeping us hooked. Consider the context of the king's response. Charles and Camilla, as a royal couple, have faced their own share of personal and public trials. Their reign has been marked by a commitment to modernizing the monarchy while honoring its traditions. This statement, signed by both, reflects their united front, a couple standing together in grief, their voices amplifying a message of compassion. It's a reminder that behind the crowns and ceremonies, they're human, moved by the same emotions that stir us all. The choice to speak out so swiftly, through Buckingham Palace's official channels, signals the gravity of the moment. This wasn't a delayed or cautious response, it was immediate, raw, and deeply felt. So, what does this tell us about the monarchy's role in a fractured world? Let's zoom out to the broader impact. The tragedy in Graz isn't just a local story, it's a stark reminder of the challenges facing communities everywhere. Schools, meant to be safe havens, have too often become stages for violence, from the United States to Europe and beyond. King Charles's emphasis on schools as places of sanctuary isn't just rhetoric, it's a call to action, a plea to safeguard the spaces where our children grow. His words carry weight not only because of his title but because they echo a universal truth. No parent, no community, should fear for their children's safety in a classroom. By speaking out, Charles is lending his voice to a global conversation, one that demands reflection and change. But here's the question that lingers: how does a monarchy, rooted in tradition, navigate its role in addressing modern crises? This brings us to the heart of the story, the power of empathy in leadership. King Charles's statement, while rooted in royal protocol, transcends it. It's a reminder that the monarchy, at its best, can be a beacon of unity, offering words that heal when the world feels broken. For the families in Graz, grieving the loss of their loved ones, the king's message is a small but meaningful gesture of solidarity. For Austrians, reeling from a national wound, it's a nod of kinship from a fellow European nation. And for the rest of us, watching from afar, it's a call to pause and reflect on the values we hold dear. But what happens next? Will this tragedy spark change, or will it fade into the news cycle? That's the tension that keeps us watching. As we close, this story leaves us with a mix of sorrow and hope. King Charles and Queen Camilla's response to the Graz tragedy is a testament to the monarchy's enduring role, not just as a symbol of tradition, but as a voice for compassion in times of crisis. The loss of a teacher and 9 young students, the pain of those injured, and the grief of a nation are wounds that will take time to heal. Yet, in the king's words, we find a flicker of light, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, humanity can shine through. So, where do we go from here? How do we honor the lives lost and work to prevent such tragedies? These are the questions that linger, and we're here to keep exploring them with you. What are your thoughts on this heartbreaking event and the king's response? Do you think his words can make a difference in times of global grief? Share your feelings in the comments, we read every one and value your perspective. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to stay updated on the royal family's journey through a changing world. We've got more stories to share, so stick with us for every emotional twist and turn. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep caring, and let's keep the conversation going.